Hey guys, today we're focusing on mathematics paper 1, question 1, which is a really important question because it can set the mood for the remainder of the paper. So if you do well in this question, you're going to feel good and confident throughout the paper. And also because it's a really easy question where you can get full marks. Remember, if you're not completely confident after watching this video, it's okay, because for the remainder of the week we're going to be focusing on question 1. We'll be doing some Instagram lives as well as focusing individually on each question, going into more depth. Also guys, please like, share and interact with this content. Let me know what works, what doesn't work, what you'd like to see more of, so that we can get the best out of these videos. Straight into it, with question 1, which says solve for x squared minus 4x plus 3 equals 0. So it looks like straight factorization. Okay, what are my factors of 3 that should give me minus 4? Well, my factors of 3 are 3 and 1, and I'm going to say minus 3 and x minus 1. Let's double check that. X times x is x squared, minus 3x minus 1x is minus 4x, and minus 3 times minus 1 is positive 3. That's correct. So we can say x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 1. And remember guys, to always check by substituting your x into the equation, and the right hand side should equal to the left hand side, and so you know you're correct. Okay, next we have question 1.1.2, which says 5x squared minus 5x plus 1 equals to 0. Again, another trinomial, and it says correct to 2 decimal places. Now bear this in mind, that whenever you see correct to 2 decimal places, it should always be the quadratic formula. You don't need to memorize it. It is in your formula sheet, but by the time you practice this so much, you ought to know it in your head. Now guys, it's important to know the general formula for the parabola, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, which will allow you to correctly substitute into the quadratic equation. You substitute it into your calculator exactly the way it is in the formula, bearing in mind that there's a plus and a minus, so you'll have 2 solutions. It would be x is equal to 0.72, or if I put a negative, it should be x is equal to 0.28, and those are your 2 solutions. Okay, so with this inequality, I'm going to solve it to first find my critical values, and I think I'm going to have x minus 5. You factorize x plus 2. From there, I'm going to look at my number line and see how it looks. Now there are various ways you can solve this, but I'm doing it this way. I know that my one critical value is x is equal to 5, and my second one is x is equal to minus 2. So on my number line I have x and 5, minus 2 and 5. Now I substitute something from this side. I'll say minus 3 into the equation, and that gives me positive something from here. Let's take 0 squared minus 0 minus 10. It's a negative number. And on this side, if I squared 6 squared minus, it gives me a positive. And we have a greater than sign, so we'll look at this section and this side, because x is positive. They're positive when it's greater than 0. So they're looking for where x's are greater than 0, they're greater than 0 here, and they are greater than 0 here. So I'm going to say my x's are greater than 0 less than minus 2, or when on this side x's are greater than 5. And those are your solutions. Question 1.2, we have a simultaneous equation and it says solve simultaneously for x and y. So we choose one of the equations and make y the subject of the formula. So we'll have y is equal to 2 minus 2 plus 3. We then substitute that y value into there, which gives us 2 into minus 2 plus 3x plus 9x squared equals to minus 1, and we solve for x. Let's expand that. It becomes minus 4 plus 6x plus 9x squared, and I want to bring that to the other side. Plus 1 equals 0. Let's put our like terms together. 9x squared, I'm done with that one, minus 6x, well, plus 6x, minus 4 plus 1 is minus 3 equals 0. I then factorize. Well, I can simplify it first. Divide by 3, divide by 3, and divide by 3, and divide by 3. That gives you 3x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0, which I then factorize to get 3x minus 1, x plus 1. Remember to work on your factorization. If you don't know how to factorize, I will post a video on factorization for you guys soon, which you can practice from. So x is equal to 1 over 3, or x is equal to minus 1. And from there we substitute our x values into the original equation to find y. We can choose any one of these. Either one would be fine. Let's go with that one because it's easier. It's 3 into 1 over 3 minus y equals 2. And when I solve for y, I get 1, or 3 into minus 1 minus y equals to 2, and I would get y is equal to minus 5. Let's put it in. We have 1 over 3 and minus 1. Or minus 1 and minus 5. We then have question 1.3, which says if 3 to the power 9x is equal to 64 and 5 to the power of root p is equal to 64, calculate without the use of a calculator the value of this expression. Okay, so what we want to do in problems like these is we need to convert that to make it look like 3 to the 9x, and we want to convert that to make it look like 5 to the root p, so that we can substitute and solve. So using my knowledge of indices and exponents, I'm gonna multiply that there, which should give me 3 to the 3x minus 3, and I'm going to convert that into 5 to the p. Oh, that's a p to the exponent half. Now I can separate that as 3 to the 3 to the minus 3 over 5 to the root p all to the half. And remember, with negative exponents I can bring it to the bottom, so I'm going to bring it there. 3 to the 3x over 3 cubed 5p to the half. Now you can see that I have this as that, which is correct, but I want to change this 3 to the power 3x to 3 to the power 9x. How can I do that? If I change that to the 9x, we're not changing the value of this, we're just simply changing the way it looks. That's 27, 3 cubed is 27 into 5 to the root p to the half. Okay, now that my expression can be substituted because that's the same, I'm gonna put 64 into third all over 27 Now I can solve. I can do this using my calculator, or if you know your cubes, cube root of 64 is 4, and 27, the square root of 64 should be 8, which should give me 4 over 27 times 8. What is that? 216. The same as 1 over 54. That is your answer. That's number 1. Question 1 done and dusted.